Late in the evening of November 15th, 1966, two young married couples had a very strange encounter as they drove past an abandoned TNT plant near Point Pleasure, West Virginia. The couple spotted two large eyes that were attached to something shaped like a man but bigger, maybe 6 or 7 feet tall. It had big wings that were folded against its back, and when the creature moved towards the plant door, the couple panicked and sped away. Moments later, they saw the same creature on a hillside near the road. It spread its wings and rose into the air, following with their car, which by now was traveling well over 100 miles per hour. "That bird kept right up with us," said one of the groups. They told Deputy Sheriff Millard Halstead that it followed them down Highway 62 and right to the Point Pleasant city limits, and they would not be the only ones to report the creature that night. Another sighting had bizarre results. At about 10:30 on that same evening, Newell Patridge, a local building contractor who lived in Salem, about 90 miles from Point Pleasant, was watching television when his screen suddenly went dark. He stated that a weird pattern filled the screen, and then he heard a loud, whining sound from outside that raised in pitch and then ceased. It sounded like a generator winding up, he later stated. Patridge's dog, Bandit, began to howl on the front porch, and Newell went out to see what was going on. When he walked outside, he saw Bandit facing the hay barn, about 150 yards from the house. Puzzled, Patridge turned a flashlight in the direction, and he spotted two red circles that looked like giant eyes or bicycle reflectors. They started moving. These red orbs were certainly not an animal's eyes, he believed, and the sight of them frightened him. Bandit, an experienced hunting dog and protective of his territory, shot off across the yard in pursuit of the glowing eyes. Patridge called for him to stop, but the animal paid no attention. His owner turned and went back to the house for his gun, but then was too scared to go back outside again. He slept that night with his gun propped up against his bed, and the dog had still not returned even 2 days later. That same day, he read the newspaper and heard about the sightings in Point Pleasant on the very night the bandit disappeared. Hello, and welcome back to Truth or Foil. Today I wanted to cover a crypto creature. You may have already guessed who I'm referring to, who I've been talking about, but I'm talking about Mothman. And it's probably one of the strangest creatures that has ever been allegedly sighted in America. Even though this mysterious creature is a crypto and not a conspiracy, I'd still like to talk about it. I'd like to share what I know of Mothman's origins and tell you the information I found about it. Maybe I can shed some light on it that'll give you some clarity. Maybe you'll learn nothing from this. But either way, I thought it would be entertaining to talk about it. So without any more delay, let's get into it. The town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, offers its residents a landscape once claimed for France by a 17th century explorer, a namesake battle site many swear is the first of the Revolutionary War, and home to a bipedal humanoid moth-like creature with glowing eyes. The last of these local treasures is, of course, extraordinary. Lovingly dubbed Mothman, the creature has risen from local appearances to the national stage as a leader in the cryptid revival of the last 20 years. Cryptid creatures whose existence is unsubstantiated, like Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster, are found in folklore throughout the United States and the world. The cryptid comeback not only brings exciting mysteries into the lives of outsiders, but promotes pride of place to the residents of the towns like Point Pleasant. According to competing theories, it was here on November 15th, 1966, that Mothman emerged from either the depths of hell or the upper echelon of space. Roger and Linda Scarberry and Steve and Mary Mallette were driving together on State Route 62 near the abandoned National Guard Armory building and the power plant when they saw a menacing figure standing about 6 to 7 feet tall. In the headlights, giant eyes shone bright red. Panic set in. Roger, the car's driver, sped towards town. But the creature followed. According to the first eyewitness accounts, the thing rose up like a helicopter. Though a clumsy runner, as they saw at the power plant, it excelled in gliding, easily keeping pace, even as the car reached over 100 miles per hour. The creature's debut ruffled the town's feathers, making for an unsure headline the next day in Point Pleasant Registry. Couple sees man-sized bird creature something. The stereotypical inclination for a small town to form an angry mob heightened. Rather than raising pitchforks and torches, for several nights curious townspeople made hunting rifles their preferred weapon. With the initial contact, and according to written reports, Mothman would be responsible for a host of strange sightings and events in Point Pleasant, and the surrounding areas, lurking outside homes, chasing cars, and stealing pets. On the day that Mothman stretched his leathery wings above the couple's car, it's possible that he made a stop at Newell Patridge's home in Salem, West Virginia. This account, chronicled in John Keel's book, The Mothman Prophecies of 1975, tells of a German shepherd named Bandit who bolted into the woods after 2 glowing circles. Patridge says he looked for Bandit, but he found nothing but paw prints going in a circle and then vanishing. We'll never know if any of this was the true birthplace of Mothman, or if the story of the 2 glowing circles may have been Mothman or may be false. But Bandit's story would never have surfaced without the frightening tale of the Scarberry's close encounter. Mary Heyer, a journalist with the Athens, Ohio Messenger, the local news source for the northern neighbors of Point Pleasant, found herself covering these strange sightings and encounters. Her first article, entitled "Winged, Red-Eyed Thing Chases Point Pleasant Couple Across the Countryside," appeared without delay on November 16, 1966. She joined forces with the big-shot New York paranormal journalist John Keel for his previously mentioned work, The Mothman Prophecies. This allegedly non-fiction record of the odd occurrences and the subsequent 2002 film, which starred Richard Gere, would launch Mothman and the West Virginia town into the national stage. But by the time of the movie's premiere, Point Pleasant itself had lost direct sight of Mothman. The creature had laid low since the deadly collapse of the Silver Bridge in December of 1967. Many saw no connection in the alleged sightings just before the collapse, while some viewed Mothman as a sinister harbinger of doom. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the movie that was made to be a documentary that was based around the book The Mothman Prophecies. It was a 2002 feature which starred Richard Gere, Laura Linney, Deborah Messing, and Will Patton. Writer and director Seth Breedlove takes utterly credulous tack in tackling this phenomena, hearing out eyewitness accounts and throwing a few special effects on the screen, as well as a lot of sketching and lurid watercolors depicting the man-sized insect or bird-man look-alike, laying out a timeline of the alleged sightings and the creature's arrival, which is not limited to West Virginia and is tying it to assorted disasters. So, is the Mothman a harbinger of doom? The Silver Bridge collapse killed over 60 people in Point Pleasant, just after the first reported sightings of the creature in the mid-60s. Breedlove had interviewed subjects tied to the Mothman Celtic folklore and the Scottish-Irish who settled in that part of the world, and documents some of the ways that Point Pleasant has exploited its notoriety: a statue in town, a museum of Mothman lore, an annual festival. But his film fails to do even the most basic things to lend itself to credibility. He's not trying to make a mockumentary. He avoids having even the barest hint of fun with this whole dying town exploiting supernatural hook. On top of that, there are endless recreations and reimaginings of a creature that some speculated might just be a sandhill crane or a large screech owl mistaken for something larger in the dark. None of this even accounts for the fact that there is no Bigfoot walk footage. There's not even any real photos of him. The faked Mothman on the water tower and the shots that are identified as recreations all lend themselves to make you believe that this is not a real creature. The only evidence that we have of Mothman is a now proven to be fake picture of Mothman on a water tower. In this documentary, I say that with quotes, the Mothman footage on the water tower and the recreation shots aren't even designated as recreations, even though they've been proven to be exactly that. So basically, the movie is just talking to people about the idea of Mothman without any real evidence being put forward. And it's done in a mockumentary style, not a documentary style. So now I want to say that we've probably looked at enough evidence, and when I say that loosely, as there's not a lot of evidence of Mothman. I think that Mothman is a very interesting crypto to look into, and he's given credit for a fair amount of supernatural events, and for having powers that is well beyond what other cryptos have. However, it also seems that Mothman has almost no quote-unquote pictures or videos of it that you would be able to find for almost any other crypto. I like the idea of Mothman, and how his stories have been told, and the powers that he allegedly has. But when you look at the lack of evidence, he seems like a fake crypto, unfortunately. But my point of view on cryptos is like this. We discover new animals every year. And I believe that shadow of a doubt gives reason to believe that some cryptos may still exist. So I'm trying to get better at articulating how I talk, and I am also trying to be better about my script editing. So if you liked this video and you want to support the channel, please like, share, subscribe, comment. If you have any ideas or anything you would like me to cover, just let me know in the comments. This was really fun. I wouldn't mind looking at some more cryptos in the future. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe. Comment below anything you want, and I'll be sure to see you on the next Truth or Foil.